On the evening of October 10th, I took a look at the all-sky camera. I knew it was going to be a clear night, and I was lamenting not being able to take advantage of the rare combination of clear skies and great transparency. So I was expecting to look at the image and sigh dramatically. It's a perfect night, and I can't image. Woe is me. Instead, I nearly dropped the iPad when I could see an aurora in the image, and it was only nautical dusk. Suddenly, instead of complaining that I was not able to set up the imaging rig, I was looking for a tripod and racing out of the house. I went outside not really expecting to see anything with my own eyes. I've seen two aurorae in the all-sky camera that I couldn't see visually, and I thought this would be the same. Instead, I saw a faint red glow to the northwest. It was pretty faint. If I hadn't known to look for it, I probably wouldn't have noticed it. But it was there, and if I held the cell phone up, I could clearly see the glow in the camera app. I set up the tripod and took a few shots on my new iPhone 16 Pro with an app I had recently purchased called Nightcap. This is an inexpensive app aimed at basic astrophotography, and it seemed like this was a perfect chance to test it out. I'm not affiliated with them in any way, I'm just a customer. I also did some shots with the stock iOS app, and both did a respectable job. In some cases I like the Nightcap shots better, and in some cases I like the stock iOS camera app shots better. I used Nightcap to do a 30-minute time-lapse, and that turned out to be a 13-second video that was produced, and it showed the view to the northwest and how the aurora changed over that time. I alternated between running outside to look and take some photos, and going inside to check what the all-sky camera was showing, and to connect with other members of the Shenandoah Astronomical Society and the Northern Virginia Astronomy Club so we could compare notes and images. At 8 p.m. Eastern Time, the aurora was fairly bright, especially to the north, but by 8:30 it had become less intense, although it still covered almost the entire sky on the all-sky camera. I thought perhaps the show was ending, and I considered going to bed since I had to be up early on the next morning. But a bit before 10 p.m. it started to brighten again, and by 10:10 when I went outside, I could clearly see red well up into the sky along with green over the northwestern horizon. It also seemed strong to the northeast visually, but my light pollution is strongest in that direction, and I wasn't sure at first what I was seeing until I confirmed it with the iPhone. The bright southern arc was also hard to see visually because of the moon, but I could see its western side clearly, and I could also see the eastern side coming up over the house. I just couldn't see it straight overhead. I ran around from spot to spot trying to frame up good images and see what the camera could show that my eyes couldn't pick up. But by 11 p.m. it was starting to dim again, although it was still covering most of the sky in the all-sky camera. By 11:30 it had faded even more, so I opted at that point to go to bed. But the all-sky camera was continuing to do its thing, taking an image every 30 seconds. The time-lapse of that was fun to see the next morning. One unusual thing about this aurora was STEVE. STEVE is a backronym that stands for Strong Thermal Emission Velocity Enhancement. It's technically not part of the aurora, but it's an arc much further south than the aurora itself goes. It's a purplish, pink, or magenta light, not the green and red typically associated with aurorae. In this image, I think STEVE is that arc across the sky in the upper part of the image, but I'm not completely certain. While STEVE isn't an aurora, it happens with the aurora, but the mechanism is different than the magnetic effects caused by Earth's magnetic field. It's caused by charged particles being heated high up in the atmosphere, and this all happens much further south than the auroral zone. One of the coolest things about STEVE is that it was discovered by citizen scientists back about 9 years ago, and it's something that we're still learning about. This was the third aurora I've seen visually here in Virginia, well, really anywhere, and it's the only time it was bright enough for me to really see color in it. The all-sky camera saw a couple this year, and though I couldn't see either visually, the second one did have reports of sightings by others. But this one was bigger and brighter than anything I've ever seen. I know that by the standards of those who live up north, this was not spectacular compared to what they see. But for me, it was an amazing night, and one that I'll not soon forget. And the great thing is, we're not yet at solar maximum, so there's a chance we could get another opportunity. Hopefully it will coincide with clear weather like this one did. Until next time, clear skies.